going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the 68 Firebird build. Today we are going to be installing some subframe connectors. I originally did not get any subframe connectors for this car because in the last episode you saw that I bought a roll cage for the car. Well, after looking at some of the instructions, it looks like you have to weld this roll cage up to the subframe connectors. So they were cheap enough that I figured, why not just go ahead and get the subframe connectors, go ahead and bolt them in, and then we'll be able to cut out a piece of the flooring, and then we'll be able to connect the roll cage in, and that'll kind of set us up for the rest of what we have to do for the interior. Now, if you take a look here, you can see that I've gutted the entire thing, and so I've actually pulled out all the AC components as well because I'm selling those off, and then took out a bunch of other stuff. And the reason that we're taking this out is because those subframe connectors actually make contact with the floor right about in that section. So I'm actually going to be cutting a slot in the floor so that way the subframe connector sticks up a little bit, and then we can weld in that roll cage tubing straight to the subframe connector instead of drilling the hole in the floor and trying to line that up and everything. Or instead of having to modify the subframe connector to fit under the floor, it's just better to go ahead and cut that up because I don't necessarily care too much about it. And then once we're done with that, we'll be able to move on to making the seat brackets. You can see there's a little sneak peek. I'm actually going to be making custom brackets for this that are going to be slightly adjustable. And then following that, we can go ahead and get our seat positioning so that way we can weld in the roll cage where we want it. But for now, let's go ahead and break out the tools and get these subframe connectors installed. Now, this subframe connector kit I actually picked up from JEGS, and it's a great kit because it's all actually just bolt in. So if you take a look here, this little slot that's cut out here actually fits up into the body mount bushing that's right here for the subframe connector. And when it slides in there, then you clamp on the bushing onto the subframe connector, and then you drill 2 holes through the side right here, and you connect everything together with these collars and bolts over here. And then this backside here actually connects to the spring mount up front. So we will have to take this back down just a little bit and then bolt it back up. You can actually weld in this piece right here for some added rigidity, but I think for the ease of installation, if I ever have to replace any part of the subframe or the next person who gets this car, it might just be a little bit easier for them if I don't weld this piece. So we're gonna loosen up this subframe bushing here. We're gonna loosen up the spring mount back here, and we're gonna get this side installed. And then we're also gonna have to make a mark on the floor right here where we're gonna have to cut so that way this portion of the subframe connector here can feed up through the car and we can actually weld that rolled cage to this point. All right, so I've got everything kind of loosely out of place right now. Got this supported by a jack so that way it doesn't fall apart. And you can see right up here is where I'm actually gonna have to make my cut for the subframe connector to feed up through the floor. So we're gonna make that cut now, and I'll get it kind of fit back up. So hopefully you're able to see I've got it connected up on the spring mount there. I've got the hole cut into the floor just to make some clearance for that subframe connector and for when I go to weld that roll cage in. And then you can see up here, slotted in there, I've actually got the body mount bushing already placed up in there, but it is all connected, and all we got to do is finish it up on the other side and then we're done. All right, so I'm not even gonna lie to you. We got the other side done, but I'll tell you what, this side kicked my ass. You can see that I've only got 1 bolt kind of holding that one over there because I didn't have the space. This one has the 2 bolts. Right up in there, there is another through bolt that goes through the kit. And then you can see it right there. That actually goes through the frame to hold everything together, but it is installed. You can use a 7/16 drill bit for these 2 bolts here. And then they've obviously got those spacers in the center, and then you crank those down. And then I used a 3/8 drill bit for this bolt back here because it is a slightly smaller bolt. Inside the car, you can see the 2 spots that I've cut out for these braces. Obviously that one sticks up a little bit higher, and I think that's just where the floor pan wasn't welded at the same height as this one. I think that's probably the only difference. However, we're going to get the cage installed on both of these and we should be good to go. What I'll do to kind of correct these gaps over here is once the cage is installed and welded up, I'm actually going to take some of this Dynamat again and I'm going to wrap it just kind of around that space in there, because not only is it a good soundproofing, it actually is waterproof if you can seal everything up really well. I may even use some seam sealer just to kind of finalize those bits there and just kind of cover up the floor. That is going to wrap it up for the subframe connectors. So in the next episode, you're going to see me make some custom seat brackets to fit in these new seats. And then in the following episode, you're going to see me weld in that roll cage and get it all connected to the subframe connectors. So as always, thank you guys for watching and stay tuned for more content.
This is a Bang Music exclusive.